just saying I'll work for free alone isn't impressive. I know that might come across strange because you're saying I'll give you labor for free. You have to do nothing. But that's still on the reverse side, on our end or whoever the person that you're saying that to, they have to qualify you. And if you truly value and, you know, consider the thing that you're offering to work free for important, then you should still go through the professional channels that would qualify you even for the job.
What's the longest acceptable time to have leftover pizza in the fridge for before like having to throw it away?
I'm not sure because I can't think of a time now. I mean, now I feel okay. This is hard because I don't really even get pizza that much anymore. Jenny doesn't eat it at all. So I will only get it for myself now at this point. And I probably maybe in the last year bought one or two. And when I do that,
1 or 2 days. Oh no, you bought 1 or 2 pizzas.
Yeah, one or two pizzas. And every time I've slammed the whole thing by the end of day 2. So it never got to day 3. But I think there was probably a time where I thought the end of the second day after you purchased the pizza. Does that make sense?
Yeah, 2 days after then.
Yeah. What do you think?
I will eat a pizza a week after it being
what?
in the fridge.
No.
Okay, but here, this is why I say this, because I thought I was the only one. I thought like, because Lauren will be like, that's disgusting. That's so gross. And yeah, for most things I agree. However, the FDA says leftover pizza can be kept in the refrigerator for 3 to 4 days. So I feel a little vindicated saying that like, oh, well, I went 5 days.
Yeah. The FDA is also the one putting all the sugar in our food, making us fat. So I don't know.
Yeah, but I think there's a difference between like the FDA saying don't do something because it'll make you sick versus don't do something compulsory because you're eventually going to get fat.
Yeah, no, it was a red herring. I'm like detracting from the fact that you have a solid point by taking you somewhere else on a path that doesn't matter.
But no, I think
no, you have a point.
But and also like the American FDA in terms of like leftover food and food that hasn't been consumed is probably one of the strictest in the world. But not the strictest when it comes to actually the making of the food. But yeah, that's why like our restaurants here in the US, it's like if the food doesn't get consumed within a certain like hour frame, you have to, like, the restaurants have to throw it away. They can't give it away. You can't even give it away even if it's good.
How often do you eat leftovers?
Every day.
Every day?
Yeah. Lauren usually cooks dinner every day when she comes home from work after working her 10-hour shift. And then
impressive.
very impressive. The deal is she cooks and I clean. So like the kitchen. So like the kitchen is always clean. Well, typically always clean because I clean it either after she cooks or I wake up at, after I get done from the gym in the morning, I'll come home and I'll shower and then I'll clean the kitchen.
So you're the guy loading the dishwasher. Like that's the part.
Yeah, but I'm also like scraping the stove and like cleaning all that too.
Okay. Yeah.
Because when you cook,
not to diminish the dishwasher, because that's still, that's also work, is loading it, taking out that whole thing.
Well, we wash our dishes before we put them into the dishwasher.
Like a full wash or rinse? Yeah,
like a full wash. And then you turn the dishwasher on and you sanitize. Okay, so this is a new thing that you'll learn is dishwashers don't actually wash dishes. They don't actually do that. They sanitize. So
why aren't they called dish sanitizers then?
I don't know, but Google it. Like you're not supposed to wash your dishes in the dishwasher. You're supposed to wash them first and then put them in the dishwasher.
What? I'm Googling right now.
All right, tell me what you see.
I don't even know what to say.
So I just ask a question. Are you supposed to wash dishes before putting in the dishwasher?
Like a full wash?
Let's see. Rehydrate food and clean it. So the next time you go to pre-rinse your dishes, don't save yourself time. Well, I guess you could do it either way. I guess it just depends on what detergent you use. But we use cheap detergent. Yeah, I mean, we do a full wash though. That's just how you know that our plates are clean. Yeah. I'll say this because I didn't say it. I was wrong, but they used to be that way. Newer dishwashers apparently have sensors that actually clean hardcore. So, but we still do the wash thing. I don't like, but I'll wash with my fingers. I'm more of a rinse guy. I think Lauren will actually like wash.
So it's like somewhere in the middle.
Yeah, but
you get all the major stuff, but
when I load the dishwasher, the dish looks clean. It looks clean, but it isn't.
Yeah, I get that. I think everybody should do it that way. When I see people put like full food in there, stuff like that, like that's savage. I don't know.
Yeah,
who raised them? Where's your mother?
I just get frustrated when I take a dish out of the dishwasher and I see like crusted food on there. It's like, well, why did I put you in?
That's unacceptable. I
have two things to say. I just thought of it. Okay, so if you hand wash the dishes, do you re-wash your hands at the end, or do you assume your hands are cleaned due to the distribution property?
Well, I wear gloves every time.
What? I think Lauren does too. I just think that's weird.
Yeah, you gotta protect your hands, man.
From what? The water?
Yeah. Beat yourself up.
No. What does this world come to? I have one more. Okay, so I have a theory that caffeine makes you fat. It's probably been proven true or not. I don't know, but I've never looked into it. And let me tell you why, though.
I think it's not true. I think it's got to be the opposite, right?
No, okay. Tell me why you think it's not true. I mean, let me tell you why tell me why you think it's not true, and then I'll prove you wrong. With my theory.
That's what pre-workout largely is caffeine, is to give people the hype for when they go into workout.
Sure.
But really just by itself, it's just a stimulant, right?
Sure. Okay, now let me tell you why I think it makes you fat. It's the same way diet soda makes you fat, which is like it's 0 calories. There's no calories or anything in it. Just like pre-workout and some of these caffeinated drinks. Okay, so I think it makes you fat by lowering your metabolic rate or basically like pacifying it. Okay. And so think about your metabolism. There's probably someone who knows so much about health right now, and they're just like, "Shut up!" But
I think this whole intro, somebody's really smart compared to us. And they're like, "These guys, they have no idea."
But let me hit you with some knowledge. Okay. So your metabolism is meant to digest food and supply you A, nutrients, and B, energy. When you have a high metabolism, it requires you to ingest more food for energy. So whether that's carbs or fats or wherever you get your energy from. When you have an excess of food or nutrients, it is stored as fat and then to be later consumed by your metabolism when you need it. Well, usually people who are overweight, they don't end up using that energy and they store it as tons and tons of fat. So my theory is when you load up on energy, caffeine and artificial and synthetic energy, you're forcing your cells to consume that energy before it breaks down any of the nutrients that you consumed from fats or carbs or sugars. And so instead your body says, I don't need this because I have this synthetic energy, the synthetic caffeine powering me. I'm going to store it as fat. And so here's the thing though, like your pre-workout argument. Yeah. I mean, like it's fine in moderation. You use it for energy, but you're going to burn that off pretty quickly. That's just to get your energy going. And then afterwards you start actually burning into your fat reservoirs. So I am thinking, I have a sneaking suspicion that caffeine is actually causing fat storage
I can't think of a less a a bigger topic that I'm less qualified to talk about right now.
It's a theory that I came to on my own. And if somebody is smarter than me out there and wants to validate me, that would be amazing. Or if they want to educate me, that'd be cool too.
Yeah, it's like if somebody said right now, "Hey, Cody, what are your thoughts on quantum physics?" I would say none. I've not had a single thought about that in my life.
So it's a win-win for me though, because if someone validates me, I win because I'm intelligent. But if someone educates me, I win because I'm probably going to cut caffeine out, and that's also good.
Well, that's the beauty of the internet too, is if you want the right answer, the first thing you do is say the wrong one so that someone can just come in and tell you, well, actually, let me tell you all the right stuff.
I love that. Instead of asking questions, I'm just going to say wrong things. So then so that someone can correct me quicker. All right. Well, hey, this episode is actually about something that I want to correct people on, in terms of just kind of like how you think of things. And there have been a lot of people coming up to me, or not coming up to me, but sliding in my DMs about asking to work with us or train with us and for free, as if working with us for free is some kind of offer I can't refuse. And I have denied 100% of that. I've always said you can go to our website and apply for a job, but we haven't ever, or likely won't, offer any kind of free internship. Not at least not at our stage in our size of a company. And I kind of wanted to talk about that a little bit. One, to kind of set the record straight for all of you listeners who have reached out to me or us in hope of some kind of like free internship, but also consider it for your own agency and why free help might not be the best option for you long term, even though it sounds like a sweet deal to get free labor. So I don't know who should start this one off. I know you had some good points, but I don't know which one, whose is going to be the. Let's start with yours.
Geez. Okay. I'll just start reading off the bullets. Everything I'd kind of written down going into this. The first one is kind of what you said, right? And actually I started writing things down as you were talking too, because I remember even more, but this one goes with that. And it's that just saying I'll work for free alone isn't impressive. I know that might come across strange because you're saying I'll give you labor for free. You have to do nothing, but that's still on the reverse side, on our end, or whoever the person that you're saying that to, they have to qualify you. And if you truly value and, consider the thing that you're offering to work free for important, then you should still go through the professional channels that would qualify you even for the job, right? So like Jake said, I would expect anybody, even if they did want to work for free, to truly apply with a resume and cover letter, just as you would any other way. And again, just because anybody can say I'll work for free, and it almost sounds entitled, and that's not, I don't mean to come across that way, but it comes across in a bad way if that's all you're saying and you're not following it up with the rest of the professionalism. And maybe you don't come from a background where you know that sort of information, but you should know enough that when you're offering this sort of thing, to approach it this way too. So for example, I don't think I told you this one, Jake. I was talking with Javier, and we were talking about just how things go in Colombia. And we had gotten one application once, but it didn't include a cover letter. And to me, that's an immediate trash can kind of situation, especially because we say very clearly, hey, include a cover letter, right? If you don't, I'm putting it in the trash.
100%.
Now, he said culturally, cover letters aren't really a thing in Colombia. Now, if you are applying to any place that you would be expected to work according to their culture, you should do things in their cultural fashion. So, for example, I've been learning a lot about Japanese professionalism, and they do things differently in Japan than here. I'm not going to go and do things in Japan as an American. Like, that's just, well, one, it's strange. Two, it's disrespectful. If you want to do business with people or work with them in a certain way, you should learn their way of doing it. And if not, then don't. But I think that's kind of critical, is if, even if you are working for free or offering to work for free, take it seriously, and not to, again, not to diminish the whole, because it is, to the receiving end, it can be a great deal. Wow, somebody's working free, I don't have to pay them. But we'll talk about the rest too, about why it's actually not that great. on the other side.
Imagine I was like, hey, do you want a free car? And like, you got questions like, does it run? Like, do I have to put money into it just to drive it? And
will it start right now?
Yeah, and usually not. Like, I'm not going to give you like a BMW right away, like a brand new one, obviously. Like, if you're planning on working for free for us, I mean, you're probably like a 1991 Oldsmobile Royale, like, and you're just awful at it. And like, yeah, you might be a hard worker and like, and everything, but like, we have a lot of work to do to get you to the point where you want to be, and also put you into a position that benefits us as well.
Yeah. I think a very important question is, why do you want to work for free? To anybody on the receiving end, to anybody that you're offering to work for free for, it's going to be important to know why, because you can fall into one of two categories. One, I love and I'm all for it, and that's, you just need to start. You needed an in. You missed your chance. You haven't gotten your chance. Whatever it is, you haven't been able to break into the industry, even though you really want to, and you just need somebody to give you a chance. That by itself, I'm all for, and I love that. What I don't like, and what nobody is going to like, is,
and what 100% of people are asking us about,
is you want to work for free for a year so somebody can train you completely while you get paid to do it. Eventually, you get to that point. Even if you do work for free, to probably get to a point where you do want to be paid, or you, let's say it is completely free for a year, which I don't think anybody's actually asking. That much would be crazy. Are they, Jake? I don't know.
They are.
But for a year?
Yeah. Well, this is another point too, but let's detract for a second. So hold that thought. Remember it. Okay. I can't trust that you're gonna put in the same effort that you put in the first month that you will in month 12. And like, yeah, you can like work really hard for like months 1 through 3, but if I'm planning on you staying for a year, and month 6 you've been like, well, I've learned what I need to learn, like I'm not going to put in the same effort because you're not getting paid. I can't trust that. I don't know you. I can't trust that you're not like a friend of mine. You're not someone that I've grown up with. And even if you were, I still can't trust you, because even me, if I was working for free, it would be like a quarterly thing. And
yeah, I think anybody too would say like the best position as far as referrals go and that sort of thing, it's, you don't want to work with the people that you know too well. You want the friend of a friend of a friend who, is willing to vouch for this sort of person, and you don't actually have that strong of a connection, but you know and trust the people involved in the chain of command. That's kind of the ideal hiring scenario. And I think most people, when that's condensed down to the word referral, that's what most companies mean when they're saying that sort of thing. But yeah, so you're already a little up against the wall if you're going with no connection at all.
The street goes both ways too. Like, I can't trust that you're gonna put the same output in throughout the entire duration of the relationship. But how can you trust that I'm not gonna like treat you like slave labor and just crack the whip and let you go if you're not working 40 hours a week a month down the road? Like, you can't trust me either, honestly, if you're trying to do a month-long or a year-long engagement.
Yep. Okay, so back to what I was saying about the second kind of category, though, is the people who just want trained for free so that they can go do this themselves. And I know I've said before in previous episodes, hey, go work for an agency so you can get your experience, and then you can go do it yourself, kind of thing. You also have to consider and factor in the agency that you're considering doing that at. No extremely small agency is going to like that idea for multiple reasons, but big agencies already have that factored in. Like a lot of them will have internship programs for this purpose, and they know that there's just kind of a margin for error. Some of these people who do the internship will want to stick around. Some of them won't, but comparatively, it is good. It's a good system as opposed to other hiring efforts.
But also remember, bigger agencies, 99% of internship programs is legit just bitch work. Like you're not even learning marketing or whatever you'd be learning. Like the only reason why you do internship at a bigger agency is either A, you're in college and you need the credit, the internship credit, or B, you want to work in marketing and you only stuck around for that company because that was still your in after the internship and you like the culture. But you usually during your internship, you will learn absolutely zero in terms of marketing. And I started out with Mud as an intern in 2011, 2012. And I wasn't hired there in 2015. 2015. So I didn't learn anything. I entered in samples from mailers, like their little codes at the bottom, into a spreadsheet for 12 hours a week.
Oh, that's it?
That's literally it. Yeah.
Jeez.
So when I started at Mud, I was an entry level client services rep, which is already bitch work. And I was the bitch for the bitch. But I worked my way up, and that's kind of what you have to expect. You can't expect to intern or work for free and then learn the skills you need to start your own agency. Sorry, I keep pulling this away from you, but go ahead. Sorry.
Nobody talks about this. Nobody's willing to go into this in a little bit more detail because it's this uncomfortable fight and struggle between people who want opportunities and then
people who want to give opportunities.
Right. And again, you can look at these from either lens and have the bias that you want based on which way you're looking at it. But I think that if you're just listening to our perspective, the other remaining things are, I got two more. And one is, I'm not interested in training people to leave. I really don't want to do that. It's a lot of work. It's a lot of effort. And ideally, I think that I've said it before, most people aren't entrepreneurs. They're just not, right? Most people aren't going to go do this themselves entirely. The majority of people need some sort of structure given to them. And it's ideal, especially for Jake and I, to find the people who are, they have an entrepreneurial spirit, but they're not actually going to go do it themselves. And that's where we can provide a framework and a structure where you can grow and thrive in that way. That's kind of the ideal scenario for somebody in our position, is to find those sorts of people and then help them grow, and then help them grow with us instead of out and away from us. So the last one, I'm kind of mushing these all together just because they're so interconnected, is that in the beginning, it takes more time to train somebody than it does, or than it's worth from the value you get from them. You lose early on because you're spending all this time, and it's a long time. I don't understand how companies, I think the Basecamp guys had said it too. I don't get how companies work for a year and then that's it. They do everything within 1 year. That's how they think of things. It takes a year to train somebody and make them good and not worthless.
What do you mean by it's been a while since I've read Rework, but
basically if you have turnover annually where you're losing people, you're trying to make it
your employee churn is only a year.
Yeah. That's very hard to get things done.
Yeah.
Because it takes a year to make people useful and make them able to contribute in a very impactful way. And if you're spending every year retraining people just to make them useful and then they leave, that sucks.
Yeah.
And on our end, we have to find ways to, make people want to stay too, right? That's the flip side perspective.
But this is more applicable to smaller companies like us, because once you get to a big company and you have, 100 employees, even less than that, 50, 20, 30, there is going to be a few positions at the bottom that are what we refer to as monkeys, where you just need them to do the work and follow the processes. But when we're a company of 4 people, every single person we hire has to be a rock star. Like they have to take ownership of what they're going to be doing and grow with the company. We're not looking for monkeys right now.
Yep. Yeah. It's definitely a strange experience. If you ever get to this point where you go do your own thing and then you have people later asking you, hey, can you give me a job? And they're extremely talented people that you've worked with and and you just have to straight up tell them, I can't afford you. There's nothing I can give you that's going to make this worth it financially. And even
right now.
Right now. Mm-hmm. So the kind of the biggest frustration I think that anybody will experience if they hit this point is what we've seen in a lot of ways. It's you see all this talent and it's not up to you to take advantage of it. You're really, well, okay, I can't say that. Based on our limitations, our choice is to train people and make them useful and make them valuable and treat them well enough and find the equilibrium where we can keep them to stick around too. Of course, there's always the risk of training someone and they leave, and that's a bummer, right?
Yeah, that is a risk for every person that we train, but the risk is higher when you're wanting to work for free for me to train you to start your own agency. Yes. And the guy reached out to me recently. The reason why we're having this talk right now is because I put it in the podcast ideas Trello board, because I think in the last week I've gotten like 4 requests from people to work for us for free. And I just think it's time to address it. But I mean, one guy reached out to me and said, he actually did kind of give me his like Facebook Messenger resume where he's like, I've done this, like a very high attention to detail. I worked extremely hard, blah, blah, like I want to work for free. And I was like, I basically just directed him to the, hey, you can fill out or send us a resume. And yep. I told him, I'm like, we're not like in a position to hire people just so they can leave. And he's like, well, who knows? Like I might stay on, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, yeah, but you might. Like the risk is still there. And this kind of leads into like my last point, which is in order for us to hire somebody or want to hire somebody, we need to get something permanent from those people. So if we're not getting anything permanent from you, then I don't want to hire you. And how like that equates to like Lisette and Eva, for instance. We've already got something permanent from them. We don't want either of them to leave, but if they do leave, the groundwork of the documentation and the processes that both of them have worked probably over 100 hours on each exists. And although it would suck, we can replace them. And well, we can replace their positions. We can't replace them. It might not be as good, but at least it will be there and we're safe. Now, if you came on, you listener, you wanted to work for us for free, with the hopes of just being trained into marketing so you can eventually do your own thing. It's like, what do we get in permanence from you? And a lot of that isn't on you. A lot of that is on us being able to have something for you to do that will provide us permanence, like having extra documentation. But you can't really document something if you don't know how to do it. So then we have to train you how to do it first so you can document it the way that we ask you to document it. And then also in that time frame, if you're documenting, you're not actually doing the marketing. You were just trained how to do it. And now you're doing things where you're not really learning anything. You're documenting part of a process, which you might not even know why that process exists because you haven't seen the full scope of things yet. And I just don't see a world where we bring in people for free and they get the value they need and leave. I think it's the road is 2 ways. One, you're not going to give us the value that we need from you, and we're not going to give you the value that you need from us for working for free.
Yeah, I think it probably ultimately comes down to there's probably a small overlap between the people we actually would want to hire and the people who listen to this, because so much of this is about starting your own agency. And uh it sounds, I don't know what the word is, but there's a feeling of, why are you telling me to work for free but you're not giving me the opportunity? And it is largely our position.
That's funny. I didn't realize that. In like last episode or 2 episodes ago, we're like, work for free. And then we're like, not for us though.
Yeah. And yeah, it is though. And I don't know. It's hard to explain some of these perspectives and these feelings and just how situational they are when or to explain them to people who just don't see them, who haven't been into the position yet of understanding what that is like, and to do that at every step and every stage, because I'm very transparent with people about us right now, where I say, look, we are not in the creating push established pensions full-time job territory. we are not there yet. If that's what you're looking for a job, we cannot do that. We want to, that's the goal, to get to that point, but we can't do it yet. And we talked to someone at the local college here once too, who is a businessman, and you basically, crack the joke about how college students are cheap labor, in that, if you can find a way to keep them to stick around after they graduate because they're going to go get their big boy jobs, that's great. And it's like, well, yeah, that's exactly what we want to do. We just have to find the right people where the benefits kind of match up and blend with our life and work style. So that's the other thing I would say is, I think you should really think about why you want to be an entrepreneur, what the big things are and the big selling points are, because how different is it than if you just had a flexible remote job? What are the big things that you want from entrepreneurship that you aren't getting, or you aren't able to get as an S-tier employee or a remote company?
That's a good thing to bring up, because I didn't realize these people existed, because I figured everybody wanted to be an entrepreneur. Like, why not? You get to dictate everything. But then, as we started growing into this, we realized that there are a lot of people who don't want to own a business, and the responsibilities that come with that. But since being in a lot of the digital nomad groups on Facebook, I've seen that, yeah, some people look at entrepreneurship and owning an agency as a means to their goal, which is just being able to live remote or live like a nomad. But they don't really have the chops to be an agency owner. And in that case, yeah, it might be, that would be cool. Like reach out, ask us if you can work for free as a way to get up and work in the agency. That's cool too. I will respect it. It probably won't.
Honestly, that's probably the prime group, is I am a pursuing nomad, but I don't want to go full blown entrepreneur, because I see how little you guys sleep. And and I need opportunity, and I want to pursue this lifestyle, and I like this work environment, but I don't want to go full blown deep end, taking care of all the stress and that sort of stuff too.
Yeah, and even then we probably won't really entertain the idea of hiring you for free. We'd entertain the idea of hiring you for a wage, just because I told this to you the other day. I think I mentioned in the last episode, but it was, I don't care about earning money from things that don't have a process, because I don't want the stress or whatever. Same thing goes for hiring. Like, if I don't have a process for hiring on someone without a wage, then I don't want to do it. Like, we have a process for paying people, and
yep.
I'd rather do that. But someone did ask, like, do we only hire people with experience? And the answer is no. In fact, if you have experience, we probably won't hire you, because we can't afford you. And we've never been shy about what the position pays too. Like, don't know, what do we start at, like 14 an hour or something like that? That's what we start at.
Yeah. That's our floor now is 14.
Yeah.
Doesn't go lower than that.
That's the floor. When you prove yourself, things kind of, can pick up from there, but there's bonuses and things like that. And it's usually just part-time. We don't really have a floor for full-time right now because we don't have a full-time employee besides Cody, and he takes half the profit. So I know he's our most expensive employee here.
Yeah.
So that's,
we should fire him, probably.
yeah. But eventually I'd like to get to the point where our floor is 20, and like we're working to that point, and just based on looking at numbers this year, like that's becoming more and more of a reality. But I don't want to, just to reground, and I don't want to bring anyone in for free. If you want to work here, you're going to go through the same medium that everybody else is. And I do want to call out a point too. Like, even if you're like a rock star and killer, and like we don't go and hire you, and we go with somebody that has like literally no experience, there's probably a reason for that. And it has nothing to do with you not standing out. It has a lot to do with you being overqualified, and the position that we're hiring for, we know you want to be happy in. Even though a lot of people will be like, I don't care if it's a position I'm in. I just want to be in the Evergrow realm. I don't know. It's a risk thing for me. Like, you say that, but I can't trust that. I feel like deep down inside, 12 months from now, you're going to be in the same position, and you're going to be like, well, why haven't I moved to what I want to? It's like, well, we still got to grow, man. We have a business economy to look out.
There's a very delicate balance between being professional and also being honest and transparent. And I think that is a pretty critical blend that I pay attention to and really value and think is important. So this has never happened, and it's good because I just wouldn't respond to you. Jake is a nicer guy than me in a lot of ways. If somebody Facebook messaged me or LinkedIn messaged me their qualifications, I'm not responding to you. I'm sorry. Look, like there's a minimum level of professionalism, and it's the same thing as if you apply to a job, you do it on their corporate website. You don't do it through job aggregators. You do your homework, you actually do the research about the company, you find the job listing on their website and apply directly there. If you can and you're able to, you also find the most important person for the hiring portion, their contact information, and reach out to them directly, right? That's very basic 101 how to apply to jobs. Now, everything if it says optional, that's required. There isn't a single person out there who's listing things that says, oh, it's optional. And then if you don't do it, you got to have some really stellar stuff.
You're talking like if a cover letter was optional. It's right. It's not optional.
Right. Exactly.
Ours says like we have college degree, I think, preferred, which I actually don't care about at all. I refuse. I don't even look at the college. If they have a college degree, I look at what it is. But if there's nothing there, then I don't even look at it. I think you might though.
I do, just because, and again, it's the same thing though for me. It's not an instant disqualifier if you don't have a degree. I don't care if you have a degree or not. But there's something to be said too about, in general, the emotional maturity of people who have completed college on the whole, or have done some college compared to people who have not done any. Mm-hmm. There's a general difference in.
I feel like you were tiptoeing there. Because you said you're like emotional maturity of people who have a degree, then you're like, or have some college experience.
No.
I'm sitting over here with no college degree, but I do have college experience. But I do agree with you. Let me give my
hot take on this.
Okay,
this will piss some people off.
All right.
And I said this recently because I was talking about 529s.
What is a 529?
So a 529 is a type of investment account that you can put aside for a kid. Tax deferred. Doesn't have to be your kid. It can be a kid that you care about. And then once they get to the point of college or any sort of qualifying educational expense, they're able to take that money and use it to pay for tuition. All right. Kind of depends on the state. Different states do it differently, but in Iowa, that's kind of the gist of it. And I said, I was talking with a friend, and it's hard for me to like just come out with the super hot takes like this. I normally just keep this to myself, but I said, I think it's important to go to college. I do. I think it's important to go to college. And I think that the kids,
I know where you're going with this,
in my life, I want to see them go to college. And that's why I start 529s for a lot of them, like my sister's kids. And they asked, why is it so important to go to college? And I said, it is not about what you're going to college for. And again, this is a different crowd. And I said that too. And this is the extra hot take. I said, it's not about what you go to college for. It's the fact that if you get through college and the intensity that is college, you're forced to develop socially and contextually appropriate coping mechanisms for high stress situations and scenarios, and generally healthier ways of addressing problematic issues. You have to emotionally mature. You don't have a choice. If you can't handle it, you're out.
Wait, is that your hot take?
No, not yet.
Oh, okay. I was like, that wasn't that hot.
You're like, that makes sense.
I was like, yeah, I agree.
Seems reasonable, logical.
I didn't say, for the record, man, I've said this 100 times, but I did not graduate college. I went to college for 3 years, 2-year transfer, then 1 year at a university, dropped out, and then I am taking college classes again.
Back in college.
At 30.
Jake's back in college.
Yeah, well, taking classes, Spanish classes, because I'm actually learning Spanish. I'm not majoring in Spanish.
He's in college. Anyway,
yeah, anyways, continue.
And then they said, well, the classic, if everybody goes to college, then college isn't worth anything, right? And I said, oh yeah, I don't expect or think everybody should go to college. The people I care about, I want to go to college. And I think that they should go to college. And especially if you're given the advantages, I've said that before a lot. I feel like I end up repeating myself a lot in these sorts of things too, but you have a responsibility to live up to your potential. And if you're given the setup and the opportunities to take advantage of these things. Now, all that said, you also have the crowd, and this is why I agree with Jake. You have the crowd of either situationally, or it's just not the right fit for them, or whatever reason. Just because you didn't go to college doesn't mean you aren't an emotionally mature individual and adept human. People go and find that in different ways. They find it in the military. They find it just at a professional job, that sort of thing. But, then you have to show that. That's the thing. You have to show that you have done those things. And it's just a ratio thing. More frequently it's seen when there is college education attached to the resume than not. And that's my take and my opinion. And
again,
I just want
not hot. So I agree. Like if you go to college, it is easy. This has turned into a different episode. If you go to college, it is easier to get a job for 100%, because most corporate jobs out there, if they don't see a college degree on there, they're just going to throw it away. It is harder to do what you want to do, especially in just corporate America, or with white collar jobs. Without that degree, it can be done. You just have to present yourself in a little different way, very similar to how I did, which was basically working on an assembly line, starting, and then working your way into shipping and warehouse management, and then starting over, getting out of blue collar management and into white collar entry level, and then working my way up from there. It's just a different path that you can take. And if you go to college, I think the path is easier. And arguably, I wouldn't necessarily say it's quicker. I actually think working entry level is quicker. Not going to college is quicker to just climb the ladder, because you have way more work experience. But I think it's harder. It's harder, and you have to be luckier.
For which one?
If you don't go to college.
Yeah. I think you ultimately just work harder too. Is what, like, if you go to college in certain areas, you just don't actually have to work as hard because you can do the extra smart things that, you become a doctor and then you get, however many weeks of vacation or just shut down your practice and you're like, I'm out. It's been nice.
Yeah.
Otherwise you gotta put in the hustle, but I don't know what that had to do with.
I think it was just people. When I was going the college tangent, because some people think I'm anti-college, which I have been in the past, but I've matured since then, and I don't think that even if you go to college, like Grant Cardone and all of his 10x followers, all say that college is dumb and you don't need to go to it, and I disagree. Now I think college is great. I think you should be smart about it.
Right. And don't go into $250,000.
Yeah. Start at, if you don't have a scholarship, start at a community college and do a transfer program. There's no, I don't know why people don't do that. That's what I did. I was poor and stupid. So like, I think that's the way to go. You don't need to go and live the college experience if you're trying to use it for work. I think college is absolutely a scam in certain areas. And I just think the one-dimensional thinking that Grant Cardone and his followers have is just moronic.
But also the inverse too. I mean, this is why we meet in the middle with it so much too, is when I see MBA required on a job application, I immediately hate them.
You know how many dumb MBAs I've met in my life?
Like, what? Why? What is so much more magical about the MBA that the bachelors didn't get them? Or, just it's across the board though. Any sort of this required. It's like, I get also that, the requirements are never actually required. Maybe in some cases at some companies, they, have an automated system to throw it into the trash can. But if you have the confidence and you know that you're capable of doing the thing or will measure up, then you apply anyway. And maybe that's how they see it. But I just don't even think of it that way. I just, I feel like it's restrictive to do that. And you put it.
But we haven't gotten to the point where we're getting like, hundreds and hundreds of website resumes yet to where we need to implement some kind of system like that. So on one hand, I hate it. But on the other hand, I don't, that hasn't been a problem for us yet. And I feel like in our growth, we might get there at some point.
Yeah, true. That's a good point.
Let's bring it back before we get off. So working for free.
Working for free topic.
Yeah. If you want to gain experience from us, I always tell people like, listen to the podcast. Like if you actually want to learn marketing or SEO or Google Ads, like Google has free courses. Go learn that. And we've even told you before in this podcast that the best way to learn is application. Do it. You're going to fail. We failed. I guess it does frustrate me a little bit when people ask if they can work for me for free. And then because it's like, so you don't want to have to face adversity. Like you just want to know how someone succeeded and then just replicate that. Like you got to fail too. Like, and everything we do isn't the way to do it. Like we have our own way of doing things and it might not work for you or your industry.
Yeah. And then I'm gonna do the PR lawyer speech here, which is I think I said, I don't remember. I never remember exactly what I said. I said work for free though, and then we're basically saying don't work for us for free.
Yeah,
that's my point about that is think you gotta flip it. Get outside of yourself and your perspective for a minute and think about the position of the place of the business that you are applying to or considering to do this for, whether it's the client directly or an agency directly, and think about how are they positioned to handle this sort of offer. And someone of our size, we're not equipped to do that yet in a way that's really advantageous to us. There's a lot more stuff that we'd rather focus on and prioritize right now. Maybe we'll get to that point later. I don't know. It's just not it's not on the business plan. So it's not on my brain. But if you're going to look for that, do go think about that, about the agencies that you're considering applying to and to the clients that you're considering working with too. are they well equipped to handle this sort of thing? And like Jake said, I don't think that all agencies that are, 30 to 100 plus are having everybody do grunt work. Maybe some of them have much better process and systems. Again, it's a little bit of a crapshoot. You might have to, find. Now, if you have zero, it doesn't matter. Anything is better than what you have, even if you're able to just put that on your resume and then go to the next job. It'll look good, even if all you did was just punch in numbers on a keyboard. But yeah, I do think that there are some companies that are in that larger size where you will get valuable skills. Now, you will not learn everything everywhere. Did I say that right? You will not.
Yeah.
You will not get all of the information conveniently packaged into one internship that will teach you, here's how you do an agency. One, because I never learned that.
Maybe we'll sell it.
Yeah, that'd be smart. I think I'm done.
No, I wanted to say one other thing, and then I got to go to another meeting. But I don't think we've ever said work for an agency for free. We've always said work, like find clients for free, do work for clients for free, not learn from an already established agency for free. I don't think we've ever said that. When we started out, we provided services for free or next to free to build our portfolio. You working for another agency in order to learn how they do things is not building our portfolio. That is siphoning experience. That is you're leeching, and that's different than actually putting in the work for your own self and facing adversity and learning things than leeching. It's a harsh thing for me to say because there's a lot of people that are genuinely asking to learn, but that's what it is. And when you see it that way, you will see why we're not just so open to hiring people for free, and you shouldn't either when you get to our position.
Yep. Yeah. I think find what crowd you're in there with do I want to be an S tier player at one of these places because I'm comfortable with it, or do I really want to do the entrepreneurial route? And then in that case, yeah, find the best approach.
Sweet. That was a good episode. I like that.
Yeah.
All right, guys. Well, thanks for listening. We'll see you in the next one.
See you.